John Lefebvre, you rose to fame as the mystery operator of the GS Elevator Twitter account, but your new book, Straight to Hell, is not about Goldman Sachs. It's about your overindulgences while working on Wall Street. Why did you come clean about your hedonistic history?
These were all, stories that we had been collecting and sharing and laughing about in bars over the years among friends and colleagues. So once I realized that the voice on Twitter resonated with people and they would be interested in hearing kind of more of this genre that illuminates a culture of deviance and excess, I thought that the book would be something they would like and be interested in, and it would be fun to write. And so, hopefully that is conveyed in the pages.
Well, in the book, you talk a lot about yourself doing drugs and having a lot of unscrupulous sex. How widespread is this on Wall Street, and especially in Asia, where it seems like that's kind of the cost of doing business?
Yeah, tales of bankers behaving badly aren't necessarily new, but what I want to capture in the book is the vantage point from which I witnessed all this. So I worked with investment bankers and traders. I worked with buy-side clients and sell-side clients, and I did deals with every bank on Wall Street. So what I witnessed was a culture of pervasive deviance, and I would say it applied across the board. Just to give you an example, in Asia, I don't think there's a single hedge fund sales guy who hasn't traded drugs and or women for business with his clients.
But did this affect your capacity to perform? Because it seemed as though the more you partied, the better you did in the organization. So what does that say about the banking culture?
It's still very much a locker room. And I would attribute perhaps some of my early promotions and my success over some of my colleagues, particularly my female colleagues. I would attribute a lot of that to my ability to binge drink and have fun with my superiors and their clients. And so that certainly helped me along the way.
Does that mean the banking services themselves are a commodity? Because if basically what you need to seal the deal is hookers and drugs, then what's the difference between any of the bulge bracket firms?
In Asia, there's not that much of a difference. I mean, to your earlier point, I would say the farther you get away from New York, the more outrageous things tend to be. But that is certainly the case in Asia.
So is this a cautionary tale? Michael Lewis supposedly wrote Liar's Poker as a cautionary tale, but it sent a lot of people to Wall Street because it seemed like it was a whole lot of fun. Is yours a cautionary tale?
I wanted to avoid cliches of redemption and epiphany, and I also wanted to write it very unapologetically because I enjoyed my time. I had an absolute blast, as I think you kind of read about in the book. It was a lot of fun. So some people have attributed, have taken that to mean that this is some type of aspirational tale. But I just put it out there and let people draw their own conclusions. I think some people will look at it and be horrified by this culture, and there might candidly be some people who look at it and say, wow, this makes me want to go work in banking. And
now you're living in Texas, father of two, I think.
2 young kids, yeah.
And you live on a golf course. Do you miss this lifestyle?
Not at all. No, I lived it. I enjoyed every minute of it, and I just made the decision that was taking a toll on my life, so I wanted to just escape from all of that.
Do you think the bank should be doing internal reviews after what you've written, or you think that they're sweeping it under the rug? Because after the financial crisis, you had lots of hearings of people saying, we're doing this wrong, we're doing that wrong. But when you read a personal account like yours, one would think that all the bulge bracket firms would be cracking down on this sort of mischief.
Well, it's not all just about women and drugs. I mean, there's some really important substantive points in here, putting our bonuses ahead of our clients, the systemic conflicts of interest that exist in terms of the quid pro quo nature of how particularly syndicate managers allocate bonds and do deals. I mean, I think banks should really kind of look in the mirror and reflect on some of these issues.
Do you think that there'd be a time when maybe people down in Congress would call you down to testify and tell them about what's going on and how things really have not changed? Because it seems as though it's great you're telling the story to myself and a lot of MBA students who have dreams of Wall Street, but they probably should know about this.
It still happens today, and there are some, colluding on fees. It's something that we did all the time, putting our interests ahead of our clients and sometimes even giving intentionally bad advice to our clients. It's something I think people should definitely take a look at.
All right, well, thanks a lot and coming and telling me about it.
Thank you very much for having me.
Great stuff, and thank you for watching The Street.